You know that feeling, right? You spend a whole night studying. You feel like you've got it all down, and then you wake up the next morning and it's just gone. It's like your brain just decided to clean house overnight and threw out everything important. Well, it turns out you're not alone, and it has nothing to do with how smart you are. Today, we're going to dive into a Japanese routine that might just change everything you thought you knew about learning.
It is the most frustrating thing in the world. You put in the hours, you do the work, but the knowledge just evaporates. Well, here's the thing. Your brain is a ruthless prioritizing machine. It's constantly deciding what's important enough to keep and what's just noise. So the real question isn't how to study harder, it's how to send a clear signal to your brain that says, hey, this stuff matters. And for that, we're going to look at a really fascinating example from Japan.
Okay, just think about this for a second. In Japan, students have to memorize over 2,000 complex kanji characters. And we're not talking about just for a test, we're talking for life. These are intricate symbols, each with different meanings, different pronunciations. So how on earth do they do it? Well, it's not some kind of magic trick. It's a rhythm, a daily system that works with the brain's natural wiring, not against it.
So here's the first big shift. Most of us think learning starts the second we open a book. But this method, it starts the moment you wake up. I want you to think of your brain like a garden. You can't just toss seeds onto dry, hard ground and hope for the best, right? You got to prepare the soil first. The morning isn't for cramming new information in. It's all about making your brain fertile and ready to learn.
And this, right here, is a total game changer. In the West, our mornings are all about input. We wake up, we scroll our phones, we read the news, we immediately start pouring new stuff in. The Japanese method flips that completely on its head. You start with output. Before you even think about learning something new, you make your brain work a little to recall what you learned yesterday. It sounds simple, but this one little change makes a world of difference.
So what does preparing the soil actually look like? Well, it boils down to 4 really simple steps that have nothing to do with studying. First, light. Get some natural sunlight in your eyes. This kickstarts your brain and sets your internal clock for the day. Second, a little bit of movement. We're talking 10 minutes of a brisk walk, some stretching, nothing crazy. But doing that can boost your recall ability by up to 20%. Third, and this is the most important one, recall. Actively pull out yesterday's information. And finally, stillness. Just take a moment, mindfully arrange your desk, make a cup of tea. It's a tiny ritual that tells your brain, okay, it's time to focus now.
All right, so your brain is primed and ready. Now we get to the afternoon. A lot of us treat studying like a marathon, you know? We just try to brute force our way through hours of work, fueled by a ton of caffeine, and we wonder why we burn out. The Japanese approach is totally different. It's not a marathon at all. It's a series of short, focused sprints.
And this is how they do it. Instead of trying to push for hours, the rhythm is built on these tight, 40-minute blocks of intense focus. Then you take a 10-minute break. No exceptions. And here's the really cool part. During that 10-minute break, your brain's memory center is frantically replaying and sorting everything you just learned, but at super high speed. So that rest period is actually just as important as the study period itself.
Now this brings us to the real engine of the whole system, something called spaced repetition. This is the secret sauce. Instead of cramming by rereading a chapter 10 times in one night, you review that information at specific, gradually increasing intervals. Think of it like sharpening a knife. The first pass makes it sharp, but each quick pass after that, over time, makes the blade incredibly strong and durable. That's what you're doing to your memories.
So what does this look like in the real world? It's probably a lot less work than you think. You learned something on day 1. The next day, you do a quick recall. Then you wait a couple of days and do it again. Then maybe a week later. Each time you review, it's faster and easier. But you're sending that crucial signal to your brain. This is important. Keep it. By the end of the month, that knowledge isn't just crammed in there. It's carved into your long-term memory.
Of course, you can't run this kind of system on willpower alone. Your biology has to support your brain. That means avoiding that heavy post-lunch food coma that just kills your focus. Lighter meals, like rice, fish, vegetables, are key. Another great trick is using micro-pauses. When you feel your attention drifting, just stop for 10 seconds and take one single deep breath. It's like hitting a reset button. The big takeaway here is that focus isn't just a mental thing. You have to create the right physical conditions for it to happen. Okay, so you did your morning priming, you did your afternoon sprints, you can finally close the book and relax, right? Nope, not even close. In this system, the night is maybe the most important part of all, because this is when your brain does its final review and decides what gets to stay. I absolutely love this metaphor. All that studying you did during the day, that's like typing out a really important document. That quick review you do right before you go to sleep, that is you hitting the save button. If you skip that step and then your system crashes, from a bad night's sleep, all that work could just disappear.
And listen, we're not talking about another hour of studying. It's just a quick, light, 10-minute scan of what you covered that day. You're basically leaving a sticky note for your brain that says, hey, out of everything that happened today, this is the stuff I want you to work on tonight while I'm sleeping. This stuff matters.
And that's why sleep is the ultimate study hack. It really is. Deep sleep is when your brain gets to work, filing away important memories, throwing out the junk, and making connections. To get that amazing deep sleep, your sleep hygiene has to be on point. That means dimming the lights, putting your phone away at least an hour before bed, and just creating a calm routine. Every minute you spend scrolling at night is actively robbing your brain of the time it needs to save the memories you worked so hard to build.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the morning prep, the afternoon sprints, the nightly save, you start to see the bigger picture. Look, those students memorizing thousands of characters, they aren't superhuman. They don't have a special memory gene. What they have is a rhythm, a simple, consistent, daily system that honors the way their brain is actually built. And because of that rhythm, knowledge doesn't just visit their mind for a test, it moves in permanently. This is proof that it was never about you being bad at memorizing. It was always, always about the method you were using.
So here's my invitation to you. Don't try to change your entire life overnight. That's not the point. Just start with one small thing. Maybe tonight you just do a 5-minute review before bed, or maybe you just turn off your screens 30 minutes earlier. The secret isn't intensity, it's consistency. So I'll leave you with this question. What one small step will you take tonight to start building your own rhythm?